Hello friends, welcome back to another Alpha League session with me, AVB. Today we're going to be looking to the absolute best way to swap assets on the absolute best EVM network. One DEX to rule them all. The problem: liquidity, fragmentation. The DeFi ecosystem on Aurora is booming. And while this is a great headline for marketing efforts, there are some challenges that arise from having too many players. While competition is a great thing for pushing the boundaries and advancing technology, it can also create a separate set of problems and a suboptimal user experience. This is due to liquidity fragmentation. Namely, there are lots of smaller exchanges, neither one of them with meaningful liquidity. Shallow liquidity leads to bigger spreads, price volatility, and in general, just a terrible user experience. So, how is 1inch different? At a simple glance, 1inch is just like any other exchange. Do you recognize the magic swap box? But 1inch is an aggregator, differentiating itself by doing two things differently. First, 1inch actively scans all prices on all dexes to find the best prices for the user. And two, 1inch is able to fragment or chop your trade to take advantage of the best pricing across multiple exchanges for the same transaction. This is huge. Remember our constellation of exchanges with relative shallow liquidity? Instead of scanning for the best price and performing the entire transaction in one exchange, that would be the equivalent of the best option amongst a sea of shit. 1inch enables you to take advantage of the best pricing each exchange has to offer for the same transaction, to the extent that they are the best price. So we can say that the best price equates to the sum of a bunch of individually priced smaller trades across many dexes. How does the pricing work? Automatic market makers, or AMMs, determine the price of assets based on the weighing of each asset within the pool. The best way to think of this would be, let's say we have 50 USDC and 50 NEAR. At inception, 1 NEAR would be worth $1 or 1 USDC. Over time, after there are some trades going into that pool, the pool now has 80 USDC and 20 NEAR. Because the weighing of the pool is 50-50, this means that 1 NEAR is now worth 4 USDC. So basically 1inch will do as much of a trade as possible in one pool, and as soon as the price starts to move in that pool, it continues doing the rest of the trade on another pool to make sure that we're always getting the best price. This is why I really like liquidity and DEX aggregators in general, because in theory, all liquidity concentrating on just one player would really be the best for users. The more depth, the better pricing. But also, it would mean the death of a lot of projects and a potential monopoly down the line. Let's get our hands dirty and see how this pricing and routing mechanism looks like in action. Let's start with a stable pair. We have to go to classic mode, and swapping 1000 USDC to DAI gives us the best pricing is 100% curve. At this point, I might take the opportunity to call out curve. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't know that curve was on Aurora, because they launched back in May. But as you can see, they've got very little liquidity on the $16,000. And they're kind of fading Aurora, it seems. Even if you go to the V2, they're not even featuring Aurora there anymore. And even though I do have some questions about what happened to the grant money that was offered to them, the key thing here is that 1inch will always find the best trade no matter where it comes from. So even though no one would really go to curve when there's only $16,000 there of liquidity, as long as it is offering the best price for a specific trade, it will go there. Now let's just do larger trades so that we can see the chopping functionality. If we were big whales and we wanted to do a big trade such as 100,000 USDC, we can see this marvelous, beautiful tree of directions. So let's really quickly try to break down what this means. We start with USDC, and it will be performing 10% of the trade USDC NEAR. Of that 10% USDC NEAR, 4% will be on WannaSwap, 96% on Trisolaris, and then it will take the NEAR and swap it into PAD, the token PAD, at an exchange called Nearpad. And finally, it's going to swap the pad into DAI on Nearpad as well. A second batch of 10% is going to swap into USDT at Dodo, which is another multi-chain exchange that launched on Near. They've got very shallow liquidity, no one would really go there, but 1inch gives us the best deal. Then it is going to swap that USDT into Near across 3 separate exchanges, including WannaSwap, 4%, Aurora Swap, another ghost town. But if they offer the best price, we'll take some other volume, 6%, and try Solaris 90%. Once we have all the Near, it will be swapped into DAI across 2 exchanges, Solaris 46% and WannaSwap 54%. The remaining 80% will be swapped directly USDC into DAI across 3 separate exchanges, Solaris 4%, Curve 8%, and Rose 88%. So there's magic and quite incredible recipe actually.
Yeah.
Took a split of a second to find the routing, and at the very bottom we can see a comparison. We've got the 1inch price, which is the sum of all these really random separate trades, and how it would compare if we were to do the entire trade in just one exchange. So the 1inch pricing is better than Rose pricing by 15%. Naturally, this is a very large trade, although I do hope that if anyone watching this video has this kind of money, please hit me up. I'm always looking for sponsors. The key point is, doesn't matter how much you're swapping, 1inch will always find the best route. I would strongly encourage everyone to come to 1inch and play around with different combinations, because it is a lot of fun to see all the possible combinations. I have literally spent way too long just playing around and seeing all the different possibilities. Where is the opportunity here? Where is the alpha? For everyday users looking to do simple swaps, the value proposition is very simple. 1 DEX to get the best pricing. Trust me, in this economy, every dollar counts. But I think there's more to it. Some people may say that some of these exchanges are dead due to their low volume and low liquidity, and they would have most certainly been right, absent of any event that would increase both TVL and volume on these exchanges. So what I'm wondering is, if 1inch cements itself as the go-to for swapping, as it is guaranteed to offer the best pricing for users, and 1inch is able to send volume to these small exchanges, even if they would have otherwise been discounted by individual users, then is it possible that farming on these exchanges may once again become attractive, to the higher risk degen end of the equation? Hola! These are the sort of savages that may be interested in accumulating the exchange token if they expect the exchange may start getting more volume, which in turn may get more fees, and hopefully the exchange may see better days. More volume from 1inch could lead to more liquidity, which may improve the pricing, which may increase the volume, which may actually create a flywheel for growth. And this is definitely not financial advice, but I do feel like there is something to be said, something more wholesome, more metaphysical about spreading the trades across all these players that I really find fascinating. Perhaps I've been spending way too long working on liquid staking with Metapool, where we spread Near delegation across as many validators as possible, helping keep the network secure and stable while also providing essential financial support to validators. I'd like to think that perhaps similar forces could be at play here, that simply by using 1inch, not only could users get the best price, but also users could be directly or indirectly supporting smaller decentralized exchanges that, has to be said, are OGs. They've been building and contributing to Aurora since the early days, so I would be devastated to see these projects fail and these teams go to other ecosystems, but also it may be giving more volume to the larger cross-chain platforms that may need to see more traction on Aurora prior to doubling down. An example would be the Curve Havas deployment, or Dodo, or even 1inch, which I've been told is being a little bit slow integrating new partners. I also want to give a quick shout out to the Aurora team, who mentioned at the beginning that Aurora is the best EVM solution out there, and I mean it! Aurora offers some truly innovative solutions such as Aurora Plus, which gives you 50 free transactions. That's for any user out there, 50 free transactions. Now you can finally onboard your grandmother, or your 12-year-old cousin, or your drug dealer. And Aurora Plus business accounts are about to come out so that any application can also cover the cost of transactions for the users. Boom! Compete with that, ETH. The Aurora Plus dashboard also have a swap functionality so that you're able to do everything that you need to do within one screen. And this swap is powered by 1inch. So if you want to get all the amazing benefits that we've covered in this video, including best pricing and supporting other players in the ecosystem, it can be as easy as using the swap functionality within Aurora. And finally, after that very strong foreshadowing, I do have some 3 specific call to actions for the 1inch team. I know that you're watching. First, in general, just continue aggregating indexes on Aurora. Please, I will continue to use 1inch and I will continue to refer as many users as I can if I know that I'm getting the best pricing. But to get the best pricing, you must be indexing the best protocols. I want to give a quick shout out to the Bastion team. Bastion is known as a lending protocol, but they also have a Stableswap. Compared to some of the smaller players that we looked at that are already getting volume from 1inch, Bastion Stableswap has a whopping $1.42 million in TVL. I feel like users could really benefit from adding them to the 1inch indexation. Second, we've got the Arctic team. Arctic just launched on Aurora, but it adds something really interesting, something really spicy, something I should cover in a separate video, which is concentrated liquidity. This promises to offer a ton of capital efficiency with less capital requirements. I think that may be an oxymoron. Part of the story is I would like to know that when getting the best price in 1inch, Arctic is being taken into account. And then finally, Holdr. If you're interested in Holdr, I would strongly advise you to go see a video I made about them recently. Holdr is a Balancer-friendly fork. If you are familiar with Balancer, you would know that they are a juggernaut of the Ethereum ecosystem, and I believe they're also going to have a big impact on the Aurora ecosystem. So likewise, I would love 1inch to index them as much as possible. Without further ado, friends, that's it for me today, and likely the last video for the year. I hope that you have a Merry Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. And if you don't celebrate anything, please watch all my videos. For real. I'll see you next year, and have a good day. Bye.